Dr. Yoni Witten here. Now, last week I showed you a simple way to determine if pain and problems in your lower extremity are stemming from a loss of the normal structure in your feet. I then went on to show you an easy rock taping strategy that you could use to pull some of that normal structure back into your foot, give external support, and make yourself feel way better in the short term. But what you really need to resolve these problems in the long term is a strategy that builds up your internal stabilizing system, your muscular system. And that's what I want to go over with you today. I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can build up the strength and stamina in your feet to give your body the support that it needs and make sure that you don't have to apply tape every single day for the rest of your life. So let's get into this. The structure of your foot, like the structure of your entire body, comes from an underlying network of bones and ligaments. That's what holds this all together. But ultimately, the shape is maintained through your muscular system. So if you do that tunnel slide test that I went over in a previous video, which I'll link down below, and you find that you can't get that first pad of your finger underneath the highest point of your arch. Instead, you're only getting half a pad or a quarter of a pad. The tissue that you have the most control over are the muscles in your feet, and you can strengthen those muscles to actually pull the normal arch back up into your foot. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. Now, some of these ways you're already familiar with, no doubt, but ultimately, people lose that normal curve in their body because their feet aren't doing enough work. They're getting flattened out because the shoes that they're wearing are inappropriate, or there's way too much cushioning and you're not able to feel the ground and react the way that you're supposed to. But ultimately, it comes down to your feet need to be made to do more work. So there's tools available like this Erex pad that you can stand on and force your feet, because you're on a way more unstable surface, to do a lot more work. Let me show you what that looks like. Watch what happens when I move onto this Erex pad and go onto one foot. Because it's an unstable surface, the tendons in my foot and ankle are going to be jumping out like crazy. If we were testing muscular activity around the knee and hip and lower back and pelvis, it would all be ramped up significantly over standing on a stable surface like tile floor, like I was a second ago. But what you would find is that if you were to do the tunnel slide test while performing one foot standing on the Erex, because of that intense muscular action, the tunnel would actually be pulled to a much higher degree, and you would fit a lot more finger underneath that tunnel in your foot. Now, over time, you can use it to build up and train those muscles to be way stronger than they would ever be just from standing on 2 feet on solid ground. Now, another tool that you can use is a wobble board. This is my favorite wobble board. It's from a company called Isokinetics, and it has this really cool feature. When you flip it on its back, you see this big blue hump here. Well, that makes it really hard to do this wobble board well because it's so high off the ground. But that big hump comes off. You see the great construction there? This thing is indestructible. And this makes it way easier to perform the wobble board for when you're just starting out. So you can set that down on the ground. You can use it with 1 foot or 2. Either way, you can see that the tendons really start jumping out of the feet when you're on there. So compare what's going on with my tendons and my feet when I'm standing here. Notice how soft everything there is. And then watch what happens when I get up on here. See the toes spread. Notice the gaps in between the first toe and the second toe, really well defined and pronounced. Notice the toes grabbing the floor and the tendons popping out in the ankles and the foot. When you get onto 1 foot, it becomes even more pronounced. So if you'll notice, when I get onto 1 foot, you can see that that arch along the inner edge of my foot really gets well defined by holding myself in that position. Now, the final tool that I want to share with you for getting that arch structure back into your foot and building up your intrinsic support is a product called Slack Block that I was just introduced to, and I gotta say, this has rapidly become my favorite way of training strength and stability and balance in the lower extremity. This simple, small device replicates being on one of those slack lines amazingly well, and the activation in the musculature of your foot is nothing short of amazing. I've been really impressed with this product in the short time that I've been using it. So let's do a little experiment. Watch this. So I'm gonna do a tunnel slide test here. I'm gonna slide my finger as far as I can underneath, and I'm gonna mark that spot with a red pen. So, just so you can see where that's at. Got it? Now, we're gonna get up on top of this slack block, and I want you guys to see what happens. Look at the arch of my foot going crazy trying to maintain my balance on this thing. Now, if I come under and measure while I'm on here, that's the difference. Just from a 10-second activation on the slack block, I can gain almost 1/4 of an inch. Absolutely amazing. I'm not showing you the difference in those measurements to imply that training with this tool can correct some kind of major structural problem in your foot or ankle in a matter of minutes or seconds. But what you are getting there is a good idea of what's called the training effect. So by standing on this block and using all of my muscular effort to balance and not fall off, it's activating the muscle so intensely that it's actually pulling a larger curve into the bottom of my foot. And that gives you a really good idea of what training with this awesome tool can do for you over time. So watch how this works one more time. Because of this unique construction, all of your stability muscles in your foot, your ankle, your entire lower extremity, and around the base of your pelvis and your spine are going nuts, just making sure you don't fall off of this thing. Just a couple of things that I want to emphasize about training with the slack block. First and foremost, you guys, this is a very challenging form of training. And if you have a history of very serious pain or injuries with instability and any type of balance problems, this might not be the best training tool for you. You'd be way better off starting off with an Erex pad and slowly working your way up over time, maybe using that Wobble Board as an intermediate step. Now that being said, if you're not in serious pain and you don't have balance problems, this is the most effective training tool that I've ever seen for building up strength, stamina, balance and coordination, and restoring that normal arch structure to your foot in a very short period of time. Now, when you're first starting out, one of the things that I did was I would set it up very close to a wall. That way, if I was getting too far off balance, I could reach out and just give myself a little touch, a little bit of external support. It felt really good just knowing that was there if I needed it. So that's something that I strongly recommend. Now, another thing, as far as time goals go, when I was first starting out, I had a big discrepancy from my left to my right. I had a history of injuries on one side, and so working on the injured side, it was very hard for me to get to even 20 or 30 seconds continuously without using any kind of external support or touching the wall like I'm saying. Now that I'm there, my intermediate goal is to get up to the point where I can do 1 to 2 minutes continuously, like I said, without touching the wall. Now, my long-term goal is to get to the point where I'm doing 4 to 5 minutes on each side, and I kind of break that time up throughout the day. So I'll do a minute here or a minute there as I'm taking breaks from working at the desk. So it's a great tool just to kind of have around the house. It's sitting there, and it reminds me to get up on it and mess around a little bit. I'm going to include links for the Erex pad, the Wobble Board, and the Slack Block in the description down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, you guys, to stay updated on the new videos that I put out each week, where I teach you to achieve the best posture and mobility of your lifetime. And if you're struggling with chronic pain anywhere in your body, you've got to check out my Pain Fix Protocol. This is the new science, you guys, for permanently resolving these problems. I'm going to include links for that as well in the description down below, and I'll see you guys next week.